Hey everybody, I hope your day is going well. My day, even though it's cold and rainy outside, I smashed 3 fingers in a door this morning and got about 4 hours of sleep, which is not enough for me. My day is going awesome, and hopefully by the time we're done, a little bit of that will rub off on you. Make no mistake, today's episode is brought to you in part by coffee. But thanks to coffee, we are ready to go. Welcome to the I Am Podcast, where we answer all those questions about spirituality and inner peace that you ever wanted to ask, and where we learn the secrets of humanity and divinity through a better understanding of both. I'm your host, Sean Webb. Okay, so here is the main paradox of this podcast. And for that matter, here's the paradox of every book you'll ever read regarding spirituality and inner peace, every video you'll ever watch, every seminar you'll ever take, and every retreat you'll ever go to. In all of these communication paradigms that we use to discuss spirituality and the path to inner peace, we use words to convey ideas that try to help us better understand what it is that we're looking for and how to get there. But here's the thing. True spiritual understanding can never come from words that convey ideas that provide us a better comprehension of things spiritual. Our true awakening, real spiritual enlightenment, the thing that I think God put within each one of us to find for ourselves by looking within, can never come as a result of reading that one extra sentence in that particular book, or hearing that one extra lesson from that really good podcast, or going to that one extra seminar on compassion, or whatever it is. True understanding will never come via thinking about it. Now, note that it could potentially come from a retreat if you engage in a very deep meditation at that retreat, but other than that, you're not going to become enlightened from what you learn at that retreat. You're never going to learn your way into actual enlightenment. You're never going to reason your way into awakening. True awakening cannot come as a result of mindful activity, and here's why. Spirituality is something that must be experienced to be understood. There is no other way to spiritual awakening other than a spiritual experience. Now, I am working on a book because a number of you have asked for one, and it's coming. But in one of the chapters, I liken spiritual awakening to the experience of plunging your hand into warm, swirling water. Now, if you've never experienced warm, swirling water before, I could literally talk to you forever, trying to explain to you the concept of warm and the feeling of wet. And I have no idea how I might approach trying to explain swirling to you. It would literally take thousands of lifetimes of analogies for you to maybe even be on the fringe of understanding what I was talking about. And although you might certainly be ready to identify that you were experiencing warm swirling water when you actually experienced it, until that moment of you actually experiencing it, you wouldn't fully understand. You wouldn't really know what I was talking about. But that said, if you were able to get yourself into a position of being able to plunge your hand into a pool of warm swirling water, bang! Instant understanding, complete epiphany beyond how anyone else might ever try to explain it to you. No more words need be spoken at that point. No more ideas need be conveyed. And the same is true for spirituality and attaining ultimate truth that is within you to find. You need to experience it to the point that the words and the ideas become useless for you because you already know, having been there. You need to have and experience the mystical visions that are brought on by deep meditation. You need to find that place. You need to have the experience of being completely engulfed by unlimited love, and you need to experience the feeling of universal oneness where you expand to become the entire universe and where the entire universe flows through you. And you need to see that for yourself. The great psychologist Carl Gustav Jung explained it this way. When you look inside yourself, you see the universe and all its stars in infinity. The result is an infinite mystery within yourself as great as the one without. And that wasn't a metaphor. That was an actual explanation of the enlightenment experience that he experienced. I bet you didn't know that Carl Jung was enlightened, did you? And how well did Carl Jung understand psychology, by the way? And should I even need to remind you the accuracy of the body-mind-spirit model at this moment? See, tongue-in-cheek self-promotion aside here, the reality is that I can talk about this spirituality subject until I'm blue in the face. And I can talk about the mind and explain the details of what causes human pain and suffering, which might help our daily lives until more of us can attain a more dramatic awakening. But it's only at the point that you've had the actual mystical experience yourself that you will no longer need the words to convey the ideas so that you can understand. You'll have the understanding without all this crap. There's an old Zen saying, when two masters meet on a path, not a word is spoken. Shuangzi said it this way: the purpose of a fish trap is to catch fish, and when the fish are caught, the trap is forgotten. The purpose of a rabbit snare is to catch rabbits. When the rabbits are caught, the snare is forgotten. The purpose of words is to convey ideas. When the ideas are grasped, the words are forgotten. Where can I find a man who has forgotten words? He is the one who I'd like to speak to. And what that quote and all the Eastern philosophies are pointing to, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, what Kabbalah within Judaism is pointing to, even what the teachings of Jesus are pointing to in Christianity. For a quick reference on that, look at the Gospel of Thomas, verse 13, where Thomas says to Jesus that his truth is beyond words, beyond ideas, where Jesus says, "You got it, brother." Again, pointing to the fact that we must understand and experience what exists beyond the mind, what is beyond words and ideas. Don't listen to your preachers. Don't listen to me. The Buddha even said, do not listen to him if what he says doesn't ring true with you. You got to listen to yourself. And not the little voice inside your head yourself. That's your ego. You got to listen to what exists within you beyond that voice, into the silence. So all that said, am I telling you to stop watching this podcast? No, but not for a self-serving purpose. I mean, I really don't get anything from this podcast monetarily besides to cover the costs of it. I do this because I want to share what I've learned, but it brings us to a good point. Are all the books and the seminars and the retreats and the podcasts and all that stuff useful if we're supposed to look inside? Well, yes, they are useful, and here's why. First, when we learn about spirituality stuff, those teachings ready you for being able to understand the awakening experience itself. You wind up understanding it a little better when you find it. Second, most of us exist in a non-awakened, non-enlightened state. We're looking for enlightenment, but we haven't found it yet. So words and ideas are how we get a little closer and how we remove pain and suffering manually before we get to that place where the removal of pain and suffering happens automatically. Third, the sharing of our thoughts and ideas can help other people along their path. Personally speaking, I would have never understood that Satori or awakening or enlightenment or whatever you want to call it was even possible had I not read the book Introduction to Zen by D.T. Suzuki, which led me to meditation, which then led me to enlightenment. And I guess beyond that, there's an important number 4 here also, because all these books and podcasts and seminars and retreats, even though they by themselves can't get you there, and even though I can't tell you about your inner truth and have you understand it, even though I can't explain to you what that feeling of warm swirling water feels like, I can lead you on a path up the mountain to where a pool of warm swirling water exists. And I can instruct you on how to plunge your hand into that warm swirling water to where you can get that instant and complete understanding. And that's why I'm here. That's why I want my role to be a guide for you. Because once you know the path, you can walk the path without me. And I'll be out of a job, besides maybe explaining some of the cool little details that we can now look at together and understand collectively. So it comes down to this. Meditate. Find those minutes during the day that you can shut your mind off and discover what exists just beyond it. Listen to whatever lessons that may help you, sure, but don't lose sight of the ball. That your ultimate awakening is going to come from within. That it will never come from outside of you. You need the spiritual experience to fully understand spirituality and gain complete and lasting inner peace. Okay, on to our homework. Have you guys listened to the Steve Jobs biography on Audible? I'm not sure if everybody's interested in it or not, but if you did, what did you think of it? Does it talk about his travels through India where he spent a year taking psychedelics and got a glimpse into his spiritual enlightenment? The reason I ask is that I've downloaded it, all 25 hours of it, but I haven't started listening to it yet. It costs about $10, which is equivalent to one of the 2 monthly credits I get for being a platinum member at audible.com. If you want to get a copy of the Steve Jobs biography in audiobook form, go to audibletrials.com/IamSpirituality. You can get it and keep it for free if you sign up for the 14-day free trial for listeners of our podcast. Just go to audibletrial.com/IamSpirituality. If you support them, they support us. So that's it for this week. Now, don't forget, if you appreciate what we're doing here on this podcast and you're getting any type of value from it whatsoever, go show us some love. Send us to your friends on Facebook, or leave us a review on iTunes. All that kind of stuff helps other people find us and helps them get an idea of what they're getting into before they get into it. But anyway, if you get some value from this, show us some love. Take a minute and leave us a review. Share us with your friends. Tweet us out. Whatever you want to do. But anything that you can do, we certainly appreciate it. So, besides that, go meditate. Just kidding. I mean, not about the meditation, but about the stern command. Know that I love you. See you next week. Peace.